want to bring in Andrew Brown now, a resident of the community. Andrew, obviously, you're caught up in all of this. It's still incredible to see. Just explain to me your experience of the past couple of days.
Pete, I've got a place in Cornwallis, which is one of the lowest lying areas and the first to go under. So we got very small notice. I think we got something at 10 o'clock that said there may be an evacuation warning at some time within 12 hours of that. Within 2 or 3 hours of that, there was an evacuation demand. The water was coming up ridiculously fast. I've been through quite a few of these events, but I've never seen 10-metre rise in 24-hour periods. So we had no time. We had to secure our property. We had guests staying at the property. We had to get 25 people off at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I had to try and get animals on floats. And, just without the power had been cut in the pouring rain at 3 in the morning, it was impossible. So best we could do is leave the gates open and let them go to high water, which some of them did and some of them didn't.
How did you manage that? I mean, that must have also been a frightening time for you and your family.
You get used to doing this when floods come up, moving pumps and getting things ready. But like I said, with no capacity in Warragamba and it spilling over, it came up so fast that it caught everybody off guard. So, yeah, it is frightening. It is difficult. And we had to go in the following day or the day after. I had to go in with one friend who offered to get a boat organised and then 2 strangers, and we had lights, and we went in at 3 o'clock in the morning and had to jump in neck-high water to drag 7 horses to high ground.
And it made it?
They made it, yes, yes. So some of my horses, all my horses are okay. I located a pig yesterday. She'd been swimming for 2 days, but now she's on high ground. But there's several other animals I've lost. Yes, Grace, my pig, she's happy.
But I'm sorry, you lost other animals
Yes,
too.
I lost other animals, yes. I've lost alpacas and sheep and goats.
What about your property at your house?
My property's totally inundated. Thankfully, the house is at a 1 in 100-year flood level, so there's no water in that, but the property itself is underwater. And look, the property's up and down my street in Cornwallis, going up and down there in a boat the other day. I mean, the turf farms, the market gardens, the polo paddocks and stuff, they're under 3 and 4 metres of water. They're totally inundated. And those poor turf farmers, they get 2 cuts a year. Their businesses are finished for the next 12 months. There'll be no business.
How are you holding up? How's the community holding up?
Look, community rallies and comes together at times like this. We call it the Hawkesbury swap meet. My fridge today, your fridge tomorrow. Things float downstream and we get together and help one another. But I think it's tough. It's a tough time for everyone.
Well, because, and I've had this conversation with a few people in the past few days, you've had this triple threat, this triple whammy, so to speak, where you had bushfires in some parts of New South Wales. Then you had COVID, of course, and now you've got flooding as well. I mean,
and we had drought for the 12 months prior to that.
And drought prior to that. I mean, you're made of tough stuff out here if you're getting through all of that.
Australia is a land of droughts and flooding rain, so we're used to it, and you brush yourself off and you start again. Thankfully, this isn't a fire. This isn't total devastation. This is a flood. You have a lot of mess. You have a lot of clean-up, but, you assess the damage. You get back to business. That's just the way it is.
The political debate will emerge and has done already, but it'll get stronger in coming days as you start to look back at what can be done to prevent this from happening next time. We've had the debate about whether water should have been released from Warragamba Dam. The government says it couldn't do that, which was fair enough for different reasons. But the other debate taking place at the moment is whether the dam wall should be raised at Warragamba Dam to stop it from happening again. What's your view of this?
Oh, absolutely. Look, successive governments for 40 years have had their infrastructure departments demanding that they do something about this. Bob Carr sat on his hands for 15 years. This state government, thankfully, has taken the bull by the horns, but it's been delayed now in the EIS and cultural and Aboriginal significance process, which is, due course that needs to follow. But I think now this is a wake-up call that the state government needs to consider that this is a project of, in fact, I'm demanding the state government think that this is a process of a project of state significance and overrule all those concerns. If you had Warragamba Dam was built in the 60s. Sydney's population was a third of what it was when Warragamba was built. Only 18 months ago, we were at stage 4 or stage 5 restrictions. Sydney was looking at running out of water. We need a dam that's going to give us the water so we don't, have to go to those restrictions. And then potentially we can hold a dam at 75 or 80%. That gives us a good day or two to be able to prepare for things like this because we didn't have the time to prepare. And if you look at Infrastructure New South Wales' latest report, by their own admission, an 1865 flood, which was at 19 metres, so almost at the top of these trees that are next to us, that will happen again. That was before climate change. That will come again at probably sometime in the next 50 to 100 years, or if not sooner. That type of flood, New South Wales, Infrastructure New South Wales suggests 10,000 people, not just in the Hawkesbury and Nepean, 10,000 people in Greater Sydney will not have time to get away from those floodwaters. So God knows what type of loss of life and evacuation process we'd have to take place if we had that. We need the ability and the New South Wales government has been pushing people into these regions. You only need to drive through Schofields and Rouse Hill and all these areas out here. 100,000 people have gone in the last few years and more to come. And they're happy to take the Section 94 contributions from developers and push people in here, but not give us the infrastructure that protects us. State government will have blood on their hands if you have a major event and they haven't done something about Warragamba.
All right, Andrew Brown, we'll have to leave it there. Appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so much for joining us. Glad you're okay. Glad the community is okay, because remembering there's no lives have been lost yet during this
not human lives, plenty of animal lives.
Human lives, that's right, yeah, which is extraordinary, and thanks to the efforts of the SES crews. Andrew, thank you very much. We'll talk to you again soon.